I was working the night shift in an empty hospital ward. There was only one patient left. But according to the records, that room had been empty 4 years. Echoes of real horror based on real life.
Hospitals are supposed to be places where people go to heal. But some places don't feel like they were built for the living. This story was shared with me by someone who worked the night shift in a hospital that no longer exists. And after hearing what happened to him, I don't think that's a coincidence. His name was Arif, a junior nurse. It was his first job, first week, first night shift. He was nervous but excited until he saw the building at night. The hospital looked different after midnight. The lights felt colder, the silence felt heavier, and the corridors felt longer than they should. At around 1:40 a.m., he was assigned to Ward 13, a section of the hospital that most staff avoided. Not officially, but everyone knew. The senior nurse handed him a patient file and said something strange. "Don't stay inside longer than necessary." Arif smiled nervously. "Why?" She didn't answer, just looked at him and walked away. The file was thin, too thin. 1 page, no detailed history, just a name. Patient unknown. Room 131. Status under observation. No age. No diagnosis. Nothing. Around 2:03 a.m., Arif walked toward Ward 13. The hallway leading there was dim. One of the lights flickered in a slow, irregular pattern. The sound echoed. Tick. Pause. Tick. When he reached the entrance, something felt off. The air was colder. Not just temperature. It felt still, like the air wasn't moving. Ward 13 had 6 rooms. 5 were empty. Doors slightly open. Dark inside. Only one room had its light on. Room 131. The door was slightly open. Arif knocked. No response. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. The temperature dropped instantly. The patient was lying on the bed, completely still, covered up to the neck. The monitor beside him flickered strangely. The readings didn't make sense. Heart rate jumping, dropping, flatlining, and then coming back again. Arif moved closer. "Sir, can you hear me?" Nothing. He leaned forward to check the patient's face. That's when he noticed. The eyes were open, slightly, and staring directly at him. Arif stepped back. The monitor suddenly went flat. A long, continuous tone filled the room. He reached for the emergency button. And then, the patient smiled. Slow, wide, wrong, and in a dry whisper. "You came." The lights went out. Complete darkness. When they came back on, the bed was empty. Arif ran out into the hallway. But something had changed. The corridor was longer now. Much longer. The exit door was gone. Instead, there were more doors. Doors that weren't there before. Each one slightly open. Inside, beds. And in every bed, an indentation. Like someone invisible was lying there. Arif's breathing became heavy, his hands shaking. He walked into one of the rooms. Slowly, the bed suddenly dipped deeper, like something had just sat up. He stepped back, and then all the doors slowly began to close, one by one. Bang, 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 until only one remained open. Room 131. And inside, the patient was standing there, not lying anymore. Standing, watching him. Arif turned and ran. But every corridor led back. Every turn, every door led back to Ward 13. And then the footsteps started. Slow, dragging, getting closer. Right behind him. He stopped because he felt something. Breathing right next to his ear. You checked on me. Pause. Now I check on you. The next morning, Arif was found unconscious, right outside room 131. The official report said exhaustion. But before he left, he asked one last question. Who was the patient? The senior nurse looked confused. There hasn't been anyone in Ward 13 for years. And just before Arif walked out, he looked back one last time, and in the reflection of the glass door, he saw himself lying on a hospital bed in room 131. And sometimes, people still say, if you walk past that place at night, you might hear a flatline, followed by breathing.
Echoes of real horror based on real life.